Well, welcome back, everybody, to another wonderful episode of Surviving Life's Pickles. I'm Scott Martin, your host, and thank you for taking the time today to tune in to this episode. We appreciate every time that you guys take a little time out of your day and your week to hang out with us and listen to the amazing stories and messages that we have with our wonderful guests here today. I want to welcome Andy Anderson here today. How are you, Andy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. We've been talking about this for a while, and now we made it happen. So,
Good.
yeah. Well, everybody, before we dive into Andy and why he's here, just like we do on every episode, we're going to start off with a little gratitude. And Andy, I'm going to have you go first because I think my gratitude is going to roll right into our topic today.
Okay.
I'm going to throw you on the
I
spot.
was hoping you'd go first. Well, I'm grateful for a lot of things. But as you know, we were supposed to do this in August, but I got sick. I was in the hospital, so that puts perspective on things for me because it's something I've been dealing with for a few years, and so I've become more grateful for small things, family time, food, uh, feeling good, days that you feel really good. So just overall health and just being here and where I'm at, just grateful for that.
Yeah. Well, and that goes, honestly, right into what I wanted to go with mine. And I'm grateful for pain today. And for good pain, I guess is the way to put it.
Okay.
I have not had a regular workout routine in well over a year. Finally, I feel healthy enough after everything that's gone on and our life settled down where I can make time and I've scheduled it. So I've started doing that and I have that constant sore. And it reminds me of, oh, I'm not as young as I used to be, or I actually did something, and it's good pain because it's healing pain because I know I broke those muscles down, and now my body is healing to become stronger. And that kind of goes with the second part of my gratitude today was we went to the Brandon Lake concert this week. I don't know if you are familiar with Brandon Lake.
No, who's Brandon Lake?
So he is a Christian rock country artist.
Okay.
He kind of made his name for himself a few years ago. He wrote the main song for the TV show The Chosen.
Okay.
And after that, he's done some songs with Jelly Roll and a handful, and he's just blown up. But
Really?
not our normal thing at all. Like, but
Christian rock or
Christian rock, Christian country. We'll listen to a little here and there because there's definitely some good in that genre. But for us, going to a concert like that was very out of the norm. But I seen he was coming. One of his songs has really helped me through some dark stuff, and I listen to it often. And so I bought tickets for us, and we went. And by the time we'd left that, again, I was exhausted because of the emotional charge that was inside that building.
Oh, really?
I don't think there was. It's a weird atmosphere going to a concert, and not everybody is intoxicated. I would say maybe 10% of the people there had a couple drinks. Everybody was just in the moment.
Huh.
They were just raw. There was a lot of Jesus. There was a lot of, praise the Lords and a lot of hallelujahs. And again, that's something that's not really what we have grown up with. And so it was a little different for me. But the energy is what really struck me. Like I was overwhelmed. And I'm so grateful that I was able to feel all the feelings that were in that building that day because it was a different experience. It was fun.
Okay. Where was that at?
I was at the Maverick Center.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he does big shows.
Big shows. Yeah, he just did. He was actually the Charlie Kirk Memorial. He was the artist who performed at the memorial.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he's made a name for himself. He's pretty big now. You have to check him out a little bit.
We've watched that show. I'll have to pay attention to the movie.
Right. So, well, everybody, Andy and I, backstory, we kind of met through the I Love You Bro group originally. You had come to a couple of the workshops, and then your lovely wife, Brooke, taught our suicide prevention course.
Right. That's right.
So, and I'm going to acknowledge that Brooke is in the room, but she is podcasted out, so she is off camera, off screen, and just giving us hand signs over here when we say anything.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of how we met. The I Love You Bro group is how we get introduced. And then through that, we found out we work in the same industry and know some same people. And since then, every time I've been going to different events, all of a sudden, hey, guess what? You're there. So we're kind of running in the same crowds at work and kind of on this mental health stuff as well, it seems
Yeah, it's
like.
a small world, especially here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, tell everybody whatever you want to share, kind of a little bit of background, why, I guess, why you kind of do what you do, Andy.
Okay. Well, I work for Ames Construction. I've been there for 25 years, so a long time with the same place. And most of my career has been in safety, risk management, with a little bit of labor relations, HR mixed in. And then a few years back, we moved kind of departments around. So I've stayed in HR, but we all obviously work close together. So still with the safety and risk management group. And we started talking about mental health, suicide prevention, right kind of when COVID started, like 2019, 2020.
Okay.
We had lost some coworkers uh, all over the country over the course of a couple decades, and started paying attention to it in 2019. We lost another coworker and kind of went, wait, like something's going on here. And so that's when all this stuff started with us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and you guys as a couple are very involved in the mental health and suicide prevention community.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something you guys do together when you're not at work,
Mhm.
but at the same time, you're kind of working in a different aspect,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we get to it's been kind of enjoyable because there are times where we get to go to meetings together,
Right.
at trainings together. So, yeah, and Brooke works for NAMI full time, oversees the suicide prevention grant with the Live On campaign and all that. And then she was involved with AFSP, was the co-chair and on the board for several years. And so, yeah, we again, that's how we met Joe and the I Love You group and the I Love You Bro group and everything. So, yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
do a lot together. And
You guys are definitely in the community and year round. So, I mean, there's not a lot of people in our industry that I talk to that don't know at least who you are.
that's good.
And at the same time, there's not a lot of people I talk to kind of in the mental health community that doesn't know who Brooke is. Like, you guys are very involved.
It's
So,
very important to us. Both of us have a lot of personal connection to the cause, and it matters to us a lot.
yeah.
And we do spend a lot of hours at work and outside of work, doing that and having teenagers and raising them, and to see how literate they are about mental health and suicide prevention. It's the best you could ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys are doing it right. You're teaching the kids from some life experiences and then things that you see around in the community in the world and things, and you can pass that information back to them. And you're raising great human beings, so
We hope so.
it's great.
We hope so.
Well, it's funny. I feel a little dressed down today from normal, but I was going through my closet this morning and I seen this shirt, and I'm not gonna lie, I think this shirt is 20 years old. It's just one of those T-shirts that just stick around.
Sure.
And on the front of it, it says strong. And initially, when I got this shirt, it was when I was starting my fitness journey and doing it. And I wanted to ask you, and I'll tell you here what the back of the shirt says too. So the back of the shirt says, "You don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for." And so obviously, most people think of that and they hear physical. They hear that physical training aspect. And I think that falls right in line with safety. You hear safety, and the first thing that comes to most people's mind is physical safety. How are we physically keeping these people safe? But as I read this shirt today, I felt it was appropriate to put it on because it means something different to me now. Strong doesn't mean just physical to me. Strong means a very strong individual. It means both that mental and physical balance because you have to have both to be a strong person. And when it comes to our industry and safety, I think it's the exact same. You have to have a very strong mentally healthy person at work, not just a physically healthy person. Because you can have the strongest guy on the crew,
Mm-hmm.
but he could be so messed up in the head, he's a danger to everybody on the crew.
Sure.
So I wanted to ask you, what do you get as far as when people come up and say safety? What do you feel that impression is? Do you kind of agree with what I'm saying there on that part, or
I do. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I think the challenge for the industry has been um, that for a long time, and these are Andy Anderson's opinions and not the company I work for.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that out there on some of these things. So I think, and nothing against the industry because it's a great industry, but we spent too much time just thinking about the physical person that's on time, that will do whatever you ask, that will work crazy hours all over the place in the middle of nowhere without much regard to that mental part or who they are or what they're going through or what they need. And I think that's a part of what has got us, why we're here
Hmm.
talking, and why this is an issue, and why there's an epidemic in the industry, is because that part was forgotten.
Yeah.
And again, it's it just came with the territory, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, we've lived the mantra in the construction mining world has been leave your problems at the gate,
mhm,
suck it up, do
sure,
your job. You're the tough guy. That's just been it for decades.
yeah,
But we've been forced into now this situation, and I use the word forced because a lot of people are very resistant to talking about this, even still, in my opinion.
sure,
There's a handful of companies like yours that you work for are very open to it and being very proactive. But when I go into some of my customers, they still, oh, we don't talk about that here.
sure,
That's personal stuff. We don't deal with that. And then all of a sudden they have a death and oh, okay. Now
mhm,
we need to maybe think about this.
mhm,
Now we need to see, oh, okay, there's things going on. There was a situation here a year and a half ago where a worker that was involved in a company that I was dealing with was killed. And I don't think the company realized until weeks later the ramifications of not only the just the person that was obviously involved with the other person that died, but everybody else that was kind of around
oh yeah,
or there on the scene started coming out and saying, I don't know how to deal with this. This has been hard.
mhm,
And I think that really opened this company's eyes because I have seen more things put in place in the last year so they can better navigate that type of situation. So I wanted to ask you, as far as mental health and safety, what do you think should be, or what do you see being the most effective, or things that should be kind of put in place initially, like as a foundation or as groundwork for a company as they're trying to implement or trying to, I guess, more educate employees? What do you feel has been either the best for you guys or what you see happening?
well, within the initiative, my experience, in safety over the years is you can't take something, an idea or a flavor of the month or whatever, and just bolt it on to your culture or to your company
Hmm.
because it won't work that way. It's just something that you bought. Um, and so it has to be very intentional and it has to come from a desire to want to do things, not because we have to. Um, where to start? I mean, that's so different for each company
And I'm glad
because
I'm glad you said that.
it takes someone like maybe you have to lose somebody
Yeah.
or people get in a room and say who's been affected by suicide or a mental health challenge. And if people were honest, if their leadership was honest, I would bet that most of them would raise their hand
Yeah.
because it's touched everybody. I know it has. Just the few years that we've been in it together, Brooke and I. Everywhere we go, everybody has a story. So I think a company has to find those storytellers and start the passion there to want to make a difference, to look at their people and provide them with something. And I think that's really the basis is an assessment, a self-assessment, an honest, deep look at who we've got, what have we done, what are we doing,
Right.
and then start the conversation. And then there's a whole bunch of work to do.
Yeah. Well, that brings up, and you attended for a few the RFW meeting a few weeks ago, which is Recovery Friendly Workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we are now seriously fully invested. We are behind this thing 100%. And Sean, which you know,
Yeah.
is the one who brought it here. And I meet with him or talk to him 5 times a week at least. Like me and him have kind of taken it by the horns, and we're running with it. And we're gonna get this thing off the ground.
Good.
And one thing that I'm in the process of putting together is we're working on an initial survey. Exactly kind of what you were talking about. The company will send it out. It's got 5 questions in each category, and we'll have management answer it as a management questionnaire, and we'll have employees answer it as an employee questionnaire, so we can get both views and saying, oh, guess what? There's a disconnect, or these are the areas we need to work on. But it's initial information to figure out what the culture is. And that is really the key to any of this, was what I found is the culture.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be bred that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not willing to accept the answers that come off that, that's the first red flag or the first hurdle you've got to get over. Because there was a gentleman that was in that group 5 years ago. He said their company did this similar type of survey. And when the owners got the results back, they threw them in the garbage and says, no, you know what? That was a bad idea. We're just going to keep working.
Sure.
Because they were just floored.
Sure.
Because it was an honest survey of what's going on, and they didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. 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 I could see that happening. Um, Again, knowing what the industry has set up, and a lot of different workplaces, that we valued people. I've listened to my dad and grandpa talk about, because they're all, construction and in the trade as well, blue collar. But that value to that generation was that person that works 70, 80, 90 hours a week,
Right.
you know? And so if someone comes to you now and says, I don't want to do that. That's dumb. Why would I want to work
Yeah.
6 days a week or 7 days a week, 12 hours a day?
Yeah.
We used to put a real high value on that person. And now I think the next generation is going to go, that's trash. I'm not going to do that.
No.
Outside of work is just as important as work.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be a hard change. And I think that's what's hard to accept.
Especially in our industry, because we want to go, build, project to project to project.
Yeah.
But now I do see a little bit of a shift.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on the mining side of this business this will be my 6th year.
Okay.
Actually out on site. And this is the first year in 6 years that some of the major sand and gravel companies around here are doing winter layoffs again.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened for years.
Sure.
And some of the guys are really excited about it that I talk to. They're like, man, I get 30 days off, or I get 60 days off. I can just do whatever I want, relax, and I can come back and work. And they're kind of prepared. And then you have these other guys that don't have any other thing going on because they've always been that 70, 80, 90 hour a week guy.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And they're literally starting to have these pre-panic anxiety attacks about,
Sure.
what am I going to do?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then that brings up the entire other conversation of the financial side, right? Our industry is very typical of living paycheck to paycheck. It's been just how it is. These guys wait for the paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, and that's how they've lived their lives. I mean, for generations.
Yeah.
And so now you have this financial thing during the holiday season that is going to come up, and they're not knowing how to deal with it. And that kind of brings up a question from your perspective. What would you do as your position to help prepare some of these employees for that to happen? How would you help kind of prepare if you knew that was coming?
Well, I think looking at all of it and what the initiatives are, once you move past stigma and start talking about upstream things like this, financial preparedness, literacy is such an important thing, because that's the biggest stress to people. I don't care what industry you're in or how much money you make. You're always thinking about money, right? How am I going to afford this? Or what happens if? And so I think that would be a very important training discussion or topic to have with people, um, to be prepared for those things. And how do we get through that? Because yeah, there were, I hear about that again from older generations, that when you were in construction, you kind of just prepared yourself to be off from November to February or
Yeah.
March.
Especially where we live.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the golden handcuffs that they talk about, right?
Hmm.
And overtime is, it's great, but people get addicted to that. And without 20 hours of overtime,
They don't know how to
the
survive.
ship's sinking. You
Right.
know what I mean? And so that's a terrible thing that's been set up. Um, because that's hard on people, you know.
Yeah.
So what would I do? I would talk about the reality of that happening more, you know. I think a lot of people get it, but there's still some that it's kind of devastating to them,
Yeah.
and that's hard.
Well, and you say, talk about it, the reality of it, and it brings up that word to me, normalize it.
Hmm.
Make it a normal conversation that you're having on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And that finances is just one of those things. We all talk about it as coworkers a little bit or friends, but if you normalize that you talk about it at work, about having your company help you plan, that can change a whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finances is one of the leading causes of suicide. I mean,
Hmm.
that's
Sure.
one of those top tiers that
Yeah.
really force people down that avenue. So that's a fantastic way. And that normalized word kind of goes back to our mental health.
Hmm.
And if we start talking about it on a regular basis, then it becomes easier. And you've mentioned the word stigma, and we talk about it a lot as that stigma of we don't talk about that at work, or nobody wants to hear my problems, or tough guys don't cry, tough guys don't share their problems. We grew up in that generation of kids were seen, not heard, and that's kind of transpired into our adulthood of you just don't share your emotions.
Right.
And I think the normalization, like we just kind of talked about in that financial, but more on this mental health side, is something that can really start changing. Talking about it at what, toolbox safety meetings in the morning,
Hmm. Yeah.
having a 3 or 5 minute mental health topic during your company's monthly safety meetings.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, do you guys currently do anything like that at your work?
Yeah, we do. So I'll give you a little background. I first want to just address something about talking about mental health and how to normalize it. Have you ever heard of a guy named Cal Bayer?
I actually have not.
So he was, Brooks met him. He's an incredible guy. His background was in kind of insurance,
Okay.
like he worked for a broker. And in 2016, we're gonna go do on a little history tour.
I like it.
So in 2016, the CDC published a study where they broke out occupations, and that's when, like, really we got our first hands on data that construction had the highest rates of suicide compared to other industries. And Cal Bayer, and Sally Spencer Thomas were the first ones to publish like an article with that data that shined a light on this. And that's kind of where it started. So this is all fairly new.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, with 10
10 years
years,
old.
last 10 years. Yeah.
And then Cal has done a tremendous amount of work. We engaged with Cal in about 2020, and Sally Spencer Thomas and that group, and been attending their things and speaking with them, because Cal's a rock star, and then he does his focus now is like recovery friendly workplaces.
Okay.
And that's the space that he's at. But I forget where I was going with that. Oh yeah, what I one story he said, um, and why it was so just effortless for him to talk about his feelings and like stuff. He's just so open and just so genuine when you talk to him. He said that when he was a kid, his parents, the stepdad that he treated as his father, that they set him down before they had the conversation about, like the birds and the bees, and they said they talked about mental health and they talked about substance abuse in their family on both sides, and they said this is normal. We have insurance. You can talk to us anytime. There's help for you. And he said like that, just the way their family was about that, their whole life from very young. Like imagine if people did that more. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no,
Then
absolutely.
it wouldn't be a work problem.
No, no, because everybody, it wouldn't be a work problem. It wouldn't be a home problem. It would just be a society
Yeah,
normal thing.
that's it.
We
Yeah.
talk about finances. Why can't we talk about mental health?
Talk
Let me
about our
throw
bad knees. You know what I
exactly. You
mean?
talk about your physical problems all the time and how it hurts when you get out of bed in the morning every year or you get
There's no
older.
difference.
No, there really
Not at
isn't.
all.
No.
But to just normalize that, like that would just be such a better thing. I think our kids do so much better. I think kids nowadays, like listen to our teenagers talk to each other and what they experience at school, and there's wellness rooms in a lot of the schools, and they're just used to having that
That space.
that space
Yeah.
to just be normal,
Yeah.
And so now we're trying to undo all these generational things with people at work, and it's really a challenge.
Yeah. I think it's the biggest hurdle.
Hmm.
It's the culture. I mean,
Hmm.
overall that we've built.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have this just came to me. Uh, I've mentioned I have a friend called Adrian who wrote a book called Beneath the Hard Hat. It talks about mental health in the construction industry.
Okay.
Actually meeting with him later today, but he reached out to me. So he's been in the industry for a long time. He wrote this book, very very honest book, and he just calls all these issues straight out. And he talked to other people in the industry and wrote their stories in the book. Well, he has been blacklisted everywhere now
Really?
because of this and where he works. I mean, his reputation, unfortunately, they have just ran it through the dirt because a couple of these companies they know they have issues and they don't want to talk about them.
Sure.
And because of this, he lost his job. He can't get another job currently. So he decided to go back to school and he's pursuing finishing his degree in safety, and he's going to focus on mental health in the safety aspect of it because that's where his passion is. He's seen the same thing, that there's an issue and people want to talk about it. But his is a very drastic situation of
Mm.
the literally the entire construction community around where he lives up in Canada has just like nope, and just kind of pushed him aside and like you're telling too much of our secrets. Is kind of what it comes out to be.
Sure.
And talk about a very toxic culture.
Yeah.
I don't know what, and unfortunately, there's a couple companies around here that I feel have that same attitude.
Sure.
They
Absolutely.
when you talk to them about mental health or you talk about EAPs that they have, they're like, "Oh, we have something in place to take care of it."
Yeah.
And literally all it is like 10 phone calls with a therapist, or
Mhm.
it's the very basic that they're required to carry, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they think that's enough.
Sure.
And when you want to talk about it at work, no.
Yeah. I know this is a very prideful industry, and
Yeah.
I'm that's all I've ever known, so I'm the same way. When people come in and tell you what to do or how to do things better, you're like, get out of here. What, you can't tell us what to do.
Right.
We figure everything out. You know what I mean? No one's going to come from the outside and tell us what
No.
we need to do.
No.
And so I understand that pride. Um, but I also understand the element of ego.
Yeah.
And that's probably a little bit of where we're at.
It's yeah, everybody's got to kind of
Mhm.
check the ego a little bit,
Yeah.
see where
Yeah.
they're at.
And there's some great leaders. Our CEO was involved with Cal Bayer's group. Um, the first round it started with the Construction Financial Managers Association. The money guy started this stuff, and then from there they created the Construction Industry Association of Suicide Prevention, CIASP, and it's still their website. The URL is constructionsuicideprevention.com, and that really is the framework. And there's some leaders from some big good companies that are on that. Our CEO was one of the founding board members of that group, and so that's where that passion comes from. It's got to come from the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's just been so inspirational to everybody, in our organization, that we can make a difference. We can make a change.
Yeah. When you see that coming from the top down, and it really has to be a top down and a bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to work together to build that.
Yeah.
You can't fight against each other. You got to have like open conversations.
Yep.
Another, I cannot remember. So I met with Slade, that is the CEO and president of R&O Construction,
Okay.
a couple of weeks ago, and we sat down and talked for a few hours. And he's doing some of these initiatives like you guys are, but there was a training that he had went to, and I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm going to have to go look it up, but a handful of people I've heard it from, and it's a 3-day training for management, and it really takes them in and breaks down all these walls and helps them learn about themselves first. Because when you're trying to change a culture, you have to look inward
Hmm.
of what I'm doing and what I can do better before I can go out and try to preach it to other people. Because if you don't believe what you're telling them, they're not going to believe you.
Right.
It has to be that internal.
Yeah.
And then the last day and a half of this training, they work on how to implement that into your management skills and how to work with other people. The one thing I found very interesting is they talk about the 8-second hug and how it should be normalized in our industry, because there is scientific proof that 8 seconds of hugging a human being releases all of the endorphins and all of the chemicals that you need, the dopamine and everything, to just relax your body with anything that's going on. And then I can help change. But can you imagine all these construction guys doing an 8-second hug at some of
No.
these toolbox things? I mean, it just wouldn't happen.
No. And I would never even go in front of our guys and say, you should hug each other for 8 seconds.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that's the type of concepts they were teaching in
Sure.
this. And
Sure.
I thought it was great that at least the conversations have been started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike Whitaker, I don't know if you've ever met Mike
Hmm.
Whitaker. I was on a panel a few weeks ago, and I'd never met him in person. I'd done business with Whitaker for years, but he came up to me, and he was part of this group as well. And he gave me, they call it the Mike Whitaker hug.
Okay.
Once you get the Mike Whitaker hug, you're in the circle.
Okay.
And it was like 8 to 10 seconds. And I just could tell, first time I met the man, but he just truly cared.
Yeah.
There wasn't there wasn't any pride, there wasn't any ego there. It wasn't, hey, I run this company, it's mine. It's, no, we're equals and we're here and we're humans.
Sure. That's
And
good.
I kind of think that's the direction that the construction industry needs to strive for, is the equality.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you have your managers, you have your superintendents, you have your foremen.
Yeah.
They are skilled at the work you do,
Hmm.
but it doesn't mean they're a better human being than you. They're
Right.
the same.
Right.
And on that note, from an HR standpoint, that's kind of a fine line, right? Because there's certain boundaries that you're supposed to hold your management to.
Yeah. It is. But in all reality, the camaraderie in the construction industry is like no other industry.
Right.
Maybe it's similar to like first responders because that's tight. They're tight knit. They have like uh, inside jokes and just how they deal with things together. And I feel like that's what construction is like. And so it's never been much of a concern um, from an HR standpoint to me anyway, because I know how close they all are. And I know that the respect that they have for each other is amazing. And sometimes we don't know what to do with things, and that's where what we're always working
Mm-hmm.
on. But I think as far as the connection and like relating to each other, because most people in the construction industry started in the field.
Right. Most of them start and
Either
work their way
even if
up.
they're engineers, they interned and they were exposed to the field. You
Right.
know what I mean? And all your superintendents and foremen, they all typically start. They were laying pipe or running equipment as well, and so I think there's a real good cohesion, you know, like team that you always have. Um, what I wish is that other people outside of the industry respected construction workers
That's
as
it.
much as they respect themselves. So when we talk about like stigma and like the stress, it's because I think they're looked down on a lot. You and I grew up, you would watch a commercial and there'd be an attractive female walking down a sidewalk, and what happens?
All the construction workers stop and look. It was
Yeah.
the Diet Coke commercial.
Yeah, and they're like these big, dirty, like their guts are hanging out of their shirts, and one guy's got his hard hat on sideways. The big, dumb, goofy guys. But that's how people look at construction
Yeah.
workers. And I've heard teachers say, you get bad grades or, you're a little rambunctious in school, they say, well, there's always construction. You know what I mean? That is how people look at them. And so I think if that changed and there was more uh, respect given
Hmm.
to people, blue collar trades, um, that it could help out a lot.
Well, I personally knew that in the back of my mind, but I never put it like together, like you just said. I think that was really great. Is the respect? I think the rest of the community and world needs to guess what? The blue collar world is what builds everything.
Mm-hmm.
We keep everything rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you want nice roads, guess what? You gotta have a sand and gravel over here, make the material. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta have a cement truck or an asphalt truck, bring it over,
Yeah.
and then you gotta have a paving crew.
And you got to be a little inconvenienced during it
You
all.
do.
You know.
And it funny story. So they just redid the road out here in front of our house,
Mm-hmm.
right up to our house. So our house was blocked off for about a week. And all our neighbors were just complaining and moaning.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I witnessed multiple times people just blatantly honking the horn, flipping the guys off because they can't get by.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I was just, oh. And so one day when I was leaving to work, I could tell the guys were out there, they were frustrated. They'd started at 6 and I didn't leave the house until like 10:30. So I came back inside and grabbed them all drinks and ran them out.
Yeah.
Just a simple thing.
Sure.
I didn't think anything of it because I take drinks to my customers all the time. It was not a big deal.
Yeah.
But the response I got back from those is the smiles
Mm-hmm.
and the thank yous just went a long way. When I came home, they didn't have to, but they leveled the entryway in front of my road because I had just taken a few minutes to say, and I didn't ask for it. I didn't even care. But they took the extra effort because they had some leftover asphalt and they smoothed the entryway to our driveway,
Mm-hmm.
made it a smooth transition because we had a little bit of a bigger dip than we do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if communities would step up and do more of that,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be great. I was actually talking to a guy that day later, and I kind of told him what happened, and he had worked on a paving crew for years. And he had told me the same thing. He's like, anytime we'd have a homeowner take the time to say thank you, or maybe bring out some drinks or anything. He's like, we made the extra effort to make sure everything was good.
Yeah.
It was those homeowners that made our job worth it because we felt appreciated.
Yeah.
And so I think more than anything, it's starting with that appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
When you drive through a construction site, there's always a flagger. Wave to them.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as that. That flagger stands there for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
It is not a fun job.
No.
If anybody's done it, it's not a fun job.
No.
But just a simple wave every once in a while from a passerby.
Yeah. Just acknowledge that.
Yeah,
they're
just
humans.
acknowledge
Yeah.
and say thank you.
That's
That's
right.
all they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not a lot of understanding of that group of our crews. You know
No.
what I mean? And it's unfortunate. And I think it's getting better. I think it feels like there's been a shift from, college is the only way to survive to
Right.
there's some alternatives, and like you see like the trade schools that are growing and getting more popular. It's a good thing.
It is. And now you actually have some really great courses in college about construction management and safety. Also, engineering degrees that are specific to the industry. But you get some of these kids that have grown up a little bit of the way kind of like you're raising your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they go into one of those fields. Now they're going to transition that back down through the ranks.
Yep.
And it'll help. Yes, there are some that go to construction because they weren't good at school, but they're very good with their hands, and that's why they do what they do.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're not intelligent.
Absolutely not.
I mean, some of the most intelligent people I've met have been in this industry,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
they love the hard work,
Mm-hmm.
but then they go home and they build stuff like
Mm-hmm.
just mind-blowing projects that they do with their hands. They're just super intelligent.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And like you said, I think a lot of people have had that stigma from the outside that have even made it a little bit more worse of, oh, you're in construction?
Yeah.
And I get that. So when I meet new people, they're like, oh, well, what do you do? It's kind of one of those questions you ask. I'm like, well, I'm in construction. Oh, I mean, how many times have you got that?
Oh, a lot. But I tell people all the time. They say, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just a construction worker."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a few years ago, I sponsored a table at the school counselors. They do an annual conference, and so we got the table that was like right after they registered.
Okay.
first table
Okay.
construction company. I'm like, what? Why did you guys get this table? Because it's, colleges and different places for kids to go. So uh, there weren't a lot of construction companies. There was one, and they're like, why are you guys here? And I'm like, to promote the industry because it's such a great industry,
Yeah.
and told them about what a craft person can make. You know what I mean? And that they have insurance and that they have a pension. And they're like, well, that's more than what we get.
Yeah.
I'm like, exactly. So like, it's okay to say to some people,
Look at
there is
construction.
construction, there's
Yeah.
apprenticeship programs, there's,
Mhm.
there's every opportunity you want, it's there. And I said, we also have accounting, we also have uh, marketing, social media, IT. Whoa, in construction? I'm like, it's just like any other business. You
Right.
know what I mean? But there's just such a negative perception, I think, of construction. And when you're in it, you love it. I love it. That's all I know. That's all I want to
Mhm.
do. You know what I mean?
The people are fantastic.
They are fantastic, but the outside is it's a little rough. It's a little rough on it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, and you guys have done that. Another thing, Clyde Companies a few years ago started a internship program where they actually go to all the high schools and do a presentation
mhm,
and talk to all the high schools at an assembly, and then they usually get about a dozen,
yeah,
and they disperse them through all the Clyde companies, depending on what the kid wants to do. And they do an internship during the summer, and then when they graduate, they can come on and they say, "Hey, I want to do this. This is my end goal." Okay, and they actually put a plan together. Okay, if you want to be an engineer, then guess what? We're going to start you here. You're going to work up, and you're going to go from department to department and learn everything
mhm,
as you're working on it. And they help pay for the schooling, and they put them through the program. I thought that was so great.
yeah, yeah,
And I think more companies need to get on board because that's the way we can continue to change the stigma a little bit, but also really make people want to be in the industry because, like you're saying, I think it's been a turnoff for people for so many
yeah.
years.
It has. It has. Yeah, yeah. We've done something similar. We've set goals for ourselves. We usually have about 30 apprentices in the state of Utah at
Oh,
a
wow.
time,
Okay.
and just keep that going, keep it building our group. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. And
So you
you're
have
you're
to.
exposing them
Yeah.
to what the industry really is like.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, as far as implementing some more mental health, suicide prevention, substance abuse talks, what are some easy ways, or what have you guys done as a company to start implementing some of these things, as we said, to kind of normalize this and it's a frequent thing you talk about? What do you see happening that we can start doing as a whole as an industry?
Yeah. If I were to offer any advice to anybody, when I started looking, our group, uh, we kind of said, okay, you look for this, and let's see what we can come up with. And at first, I was overwhelmed at the amount of resources, and it would all kind of go back to the same thing. I would come home and tell Brooke, "My God, there's so much stuff. I don't even know where to start. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's overwhelming." But for me, uh, the best guide was the Utah Suicide Prevention Guidebook, Playbook, and it was created by NAMI, the Department of Health, Salt Lake Chamber of Commerce, and it's workplace specific. It's like 23 pages,
Yeah.
and it breaks it up into 5 categories, like the pre-assessment, the pre-evaluation work, like what we talked about. Like
Hmm.
you mentioned the training that they sent their supervisors to, like 3 days, improving literacy,
Hmm.
um, taking an assessment like a survey, and just kind of gauging where your company is and where they want to go. And then it goes into upstream activities, midstream, downstream, and then it goes post vention. It's got everything there of just kind of how that journey should look for each company.
Okay. Kind of
Because
a
if
real
you've
good
got 10
outline.
employees or 1,000, you got to follow kind of the framework. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? If you try to force stuff, it never works. If you just hire somebody to come in and do it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think people get caught up in like, there's a lot of people that want to come into the industry and help the industry and change it. Don't change them. You're never going to change them.
Hmm.
We don't want those people changed. You know what I mean?
Right.
It takes a very special person to go, I want to go work outside in the cold, in the heat, and carry heavy things and work 100 feet up in the air with a plastic hat on and hard toe boots for 10 or 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
You can't change that type of person. Just like you don't, a person that goes into the military or the police or fire, like it takes a special person to want to do that voluntarily. And so, like, bake that into what you're doing and, like follow those guidebooks. And I think that's just an excellent just framework of how to start.
What's the easiest way somebody can find that if they want to look? Just go to the website or
Yeah, if you just searched in like Utah Suicide Prevention Coalition and Committee, you'll find the website at the Department of Health. There's guidebooks right on there.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I really, really like that.
Yeah.
As far as I guess some trainings coming through, like you said, we don't want to change. You
Mhm.
can't change the people, but it is changing the frame of thoughts.
Yeah.
I guess is a better way of
Hmm.
we need to change that it's okay
Hmm.
to talk about these things. They're not changing you,
Right.
but it's okay that you can talk about the things that are struggling
Yeah.
or the things they're doing.
Yeah.
One thing that's really cool that I know is just brand new is the construction specific suicide prevention course.
Yeah. At American Foundation for Suicide
Yeah.
Prevention. Yeah.
I wanted just to touch on it. I know you were kind of the first trainer certified here in Utah, and there'll be more coming, but I wanted to touch on that just so people know that programs like this are out there.
Yeah.
So, as far as with that program, what is it a little? I mean, because I know they have two different versions, but
Hmm.
just kind of tell everybody kind of what that program is and why it's specific
Yeah.
for construction.
So it's from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, or AFSP. That's a lot easier to say. But they've had a community program called Talk Saves Lives, which is real similar to like a QPR. It's just a gatekeeping type of training. What to look for, what people can do, what questions to ask or not ask, just to how to have a safe conversation with somebody in a crisis, and then point them to the right direction. We're not there to get them out of the crisis. We're just there to like connect them.
Yeah.
Um, and so they've had the Talk Saves Lives, which is like an hour-long program. I think it's fantastic. I think it's just digestible. And Bechtel, the Bechtel Corporation, gave AFSP like $5 million last year or the year before, which is the biggest single gift that they've given to a nonprofit. And for AFSP, it was the single largest gift that they've got
From one company.
From one company.
Okay.
And the idea was to create construction specific programming. Um, and the first thing that came out is the Talk Saves Lives. And one thing that's super helpful for the industry, because a lot of people say we want to come in and train your folks. Okay, we're out in the field. We don't have like an auditorium or a big classroom. You know what I mean? And when we talk about an hour-long training, you're competing with fall protection, trench safety. I mean, orientations, MSHA training, and OSHA 10-hour training. Like there's all these things. So that's going to be like at the very end to carve out an hour. So AFSP created a 20 to 30 minute course for Talk Saves Lives that you could do out in the field. You could break it up and do half of it one week and half of it next week in a toolbox talk. And it's spot on because it just talks about the language. You know what I mean? It's not overly clinical. It's just, hey, what to look for, what can I do, what's our role in all this, and what are the resources. And so that's great. There's an hour-long program as well. That's just that version, a little, more discussion. And that would be great for project managers,
Superintendent,
staff,
office staff, that kind
absolutely.
of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. They've also got so far there's a full year, 52 weeks of toolbox talks.
Oh wow.
And they cover everything from suicide prevention to just mental health to, resilience, everything. They're great. They're great. And they're short, 10, 15 minutes, just like what we need. Just, when we're looking for a topic every week to
talk
go
about.
over.
Yeah.
These are great. They're plug and play.
Well, and you said that it seems like it always gets pushed to the back.
Mhm.
You get your fall protection first, and the physical safety things that everybody's worried about.
Yeah.
But guess what? All of the physical deaths over the last couple of years are like less than half of the mental health and suicides in this industry. And so again, we've got to flip that.
Yeah.
We've got to turn that around of don't push this to the back.
Yeah.
push this to the front. And I think this is the first step. They're making it easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's more accessible. Oh, hey, guess what? A superintendent can call this guy. He can come out to our job site for our morning 20-minute safety meeting and talk to the guys.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And that's been one thing as we've been starting to train businesses and different things. I mean, I've got 2 seminars that are like 2 hours long. We do the suicide preventions, and then we have the 8-hour mental health first aid course. Like, we can't have people out of the office or out of the field for 8 hours.
No.
We can't do it for 4. And this is going to help solve that problem.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to say, guess what? You guys are going to have a 20-minute longer safety meeting today, and we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
That's doable.
It is doable.
And as an HR and as a safety person, you can sell that to the ownership and to the people running it very easily of, guess what?
Yep.
We're going to start implementing this instead of, hey, guess what? We have to pull everybody out of the field for 8 hours.
Yeah.
You can sell them on a 20-minute training.
Easy. Very easy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that starts that process of that normalization.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Now we're talking about it in the field.
Yep.
We're talking about it in the office, talking about it at management meetings. And everybody's kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that kind of roll out as it becomes more accessible to people.
Yeah.
And as of right now, if anybody wanted to get on to that, do they just go on the AFSP website to ask for a trainer? Is that the easiest way? Or what's the easiest way if anybody listening wants to kind of look into getting somebody out to do the training?
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Just go to afsp.org. Find your local chapter, because I know you got listeners worldwide.
Yeah.
And so they can just find their local chapter, and there's contact information there, and they can request the Talk Saves Lives. And I know everybody that's listening isn't just in construction, so they can ask for the community one. And if they're in construction and they want the construction one, ask the construction one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it was really great. When you told me that was coming out, I was excited because
Yeah.
that has been the biggest hurdle.
It has been. There's just so much. There's so much information. Where do you start? Like,
Yeah.
what training do we pick? You know what I mean?
And it's just start with something.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to go back and I'm going to reference Slade again in this conversation I had with him a couple of weeks ago. So last year, himself and his company realized that there was an issue. They had some issues going on.
Mm-hmm.
They could see it. They'd had some employee issues. How do we address this?
Yeah.
And so they took the initiative of this past spring. They do a big company event with all the employees. They come out, they do dinner, and then have a couple hours of speaking, talking about what's coming up and do a little bit of training. So they had a speaker come in and talk about suicide prevention and substance awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was. He's like, we're going to start here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give everybody information to let you know, guess what? Don't be in this bubble and don't think this doesn't happen here, because it does.
That's right.
Let's have a little awareness.
Yeah.
And so he did that. Again, it's hard to find the time. This year, he is now going to have some actual training put into their yearly meeting where they're going to have a couple courses that people can do.
Good.
I know they're working that out. And so he's taking those small steps because, sometimes you just have to do that. But the first thing is start with that awareness.
Yeah.
Start with a conversation.
Yep. And then really bake it into what you're doing. Don't make it a standalone thing.
Right.
I think we looked at that early on and just realized that we can't make this just a flavor of the month thing that we talk about once a year. It's got to show up. It's got to be ubiquitous. It's got to be intentional, and it has to be there all the time.
Yeah.
Not just
Once a year.
in September or in May, Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
So it's got to be there all the time, and we got to be just having these little conversations all the time. When your upper management says, "We got to talk," we talk too much about this. At that point, it's barely getting to the people that need it the most.
Yeah.
So push through that. Push through that. I mean, there's still people in the world who don't take ibuprofen. There's still people who won't get immunized. You know what I mean? So you're not going to get through to everybody, but just keep pushing.
Yeah. Because you can get through to most,
Mm-hmm.
but you've got to just hold the line, right?
Yep.
I mean, really.
Yep.
We're in an industry that it's hard work every day, and you wake up in the morning and you suck it up and you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? You can do the same thing with, it's hard to talk about this stuff. You suck it up and do a hard job.
Yeah.
Take 5 minutes and have a hard conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's possible. It is.
That's
It's
right.
very possible.
That's right.
And like you said, it does come from the top down. The leadership makes a huge influence.
Yeah.
I've seen it personally happen on a few job sites where superintendents have really grasped some of these ideas and implemented it and now have opened this space of their guys feel safe. This is a safe space to talk. And I've even been called by the superintendent saying, "Hey, I've got this guy struggling. Is there any chance you're in the area? Maybe you can swing in and chat with him for a couple minutes because I don't know who else to call." Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is having that awareness and being open to having those conversations that is going to really strike this and make it more normal.
Yeah. I knew when I started getting those calls and hearing those stories that it was happening on our projects.
Yeah.
That it's working. It's working. You know what I mean? That they're calling and saying, I'm uncomfortable and I don't know what to do. Or is it okay if I do this?
Yeah.
And the fact that we had employees reaching out and that we have coworkers going, something's off. I just feel it in my gut.
Yeah.
You know, that it's working, and that's what saves people's lives,
It is.
you know.
It is.
So and then you've got an employee now that you've cared about. You've shown that you've cared about them. And that's the name of the game.
It is. Well, and that's the whole thing with our Recovery Friendly Workplace Foundation that will be rolling here soon is we're helping companies have that extra thing that it's going to help them out.
Yeah.
We'll help them provide the resources to help.
Yep.
We'll be there as a support. We're also working on some proactive stuff that is not very well used in some of the other states. They really focus on that reactive side.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to kind of also add some of this proactive training,
Yeah.
like these suicide preventions and different things with these companies so that they can kind of stay ahead of the game once they get settled.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can't, you got to start somewhere.
You do. And absolutely, it's okay to feel reactive,
It is.
to get in the first few years when you're getting started, because that's what really is the catalyst for change.
Yeah.
But there are things that employers are going to experience that they probably don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're talking about someone's mental health or a crisis or recovery or substance abuse, those are the things where we don't always know what to do.
Yeah.
That is a very obtuse thing. And so it's okay.
And it's okay not to know, but it's not okay not to try to find answers.
That's right. That's right.
That's the difference is you have to be willing. If you don't know, you need to go find the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of brings up two things is when you're out on the job site, you're in the office, it doesn't matter what your position is. And it doesn't matter what type of industry you're in. If somebody's talking and you have this feeling or you know something's off, but you don't know how to handle it, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then reach out to somebody that maybe can help you.
Yeah.
Reach out to the next person. It's always having that backup.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not in a space or I'm not knowledgeable to know about this, but guess what? I know somebody is. Let's go over and talk to them.
Yeah.
And be willing to step out of that comfort zone to go over and say, "Hey, I'm not sure how to handle this.
Mm-hmm.
This is George here. He needs some help.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help him with this?"
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it is it's okay not to know and it's okay not to know how to handle it. But take the step to at least help that person in their journey of getting them help by introducing them to somebody that might.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would challenge anybody that's in a position in their company to move this along, to move the needle on things. If we want to help people, we have to know what we have to help them. But in a community and also in your company.
Yeah.
You better know what your benefits are. You better know how they support mental health and substance abuse. You better know the providers in your areas and where you can go, because you don't want somebody on Sunday who's having a crisis and you refer to some of them a facility that's out of their network, where now you're introducing a financial stress to them as well.
Right.
Like, know how to connect your resources to your folks and know what they are. Like, really know them, because it's never going to come up at 10 o'clock in the morning on a quiet Monday, and you can just look it up and say, it's going to be at night.
Yeah.
It's going to be
on a Friday afternoon at 4:00.
Yes. Yes. So
when it happens,
know that stuff.
Yeah.
Know where to go. If you have an employee assistance program, know it inside and out. Go through your service agreement and know exactly what they're going to do and leverage them to help you promote your stuff. And then outside, know what like Huntsman does in the U of U and their new crisis centers and where beds are in case you need to get somebody there quick. Like that stuff is so vitally important.
Yeah.
You don't want to be tripping through it.
Well, and that goes back to my personal story, sitting in that conference room, having that conversation with our HR manager and supervisors, and that blank deer in the headlights look of, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like it was, well, we have this and you can go do this, but what do you want to do? Like the question is, what do you want to do? Like, no, you're supposed to be helping me.
Yeah.
And I never got any sort of feeling since that moment, during that and that whole time that was left there of they wanted to reach out, they wanted to help me find anything. It was like, no, you go figure it out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Here's two numbers to
Number.
call. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it needs to change. It needs to be exactly like you said. One of the things that I tell everybody, and I think you guys have promoted this as well, is you know what? Call 988.
Oh yeah, we tell people that all the time.
Call them and just have a conversation with them when you have a few minutes. They will take your phone call.
Mm-hmm.
They will walk you through a process of this is what happens when you call us. And these are the resources available. These are the type of situations we can handle. If you take 5 minutes to call them, especially if you're an HR person, especially if you're in safety, if you're a superintendent, if you manage anybody, I would recommend you call them. Doesn't matter what your company you're working for,
Yeah.
because they will help you understand that if you get in that moment at 4:30 p.m. on a Friday night or a Sunday afternoon, you have an employee call you and is having a moment, at least you know what 988 can help,
Yeah.
and they can help direct you in a certain situation.
Yeah.
You would call 911 if it was a medical emergency. So let's use 988
Yep.
for these others.
Absolutely. Yep. Good point.
And I think that's one thing people are just kind of scared of. Well, I'm not in crisis. I don't know. No, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
They are so open and willing to talk to you, to
Mm-hmm.
give you information, to give you some of these tools you've been talking about.
Yeah.
So you're more prepared if a situation comes up.
That's right. When a situation comes.
Yeah, I mean, it is not if, it is when,
Yeah.
because it will happen.
It will happen.
Everybody in your life will deal with this.
Yeah.
And the research I found in one of the talks I gave recently is 1 out of 4 individuals will have a mental health crisis during their professional career.
Yeah. Sure.
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
And people don't realize. I mean, a mental health crisis looks different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's is a different level because we're all different human beings.
Yeah.
But you will have one.
Sure. Absolutely.
It is a when, not an if.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, this has been awesome, Andy. It's been great to talk about some of this stuff with you and finally connect. I mean, I've seen a lot of the things you've been doing, and you're just so calm and collected all the time. But you're such a fun guy too. So I can see why your company has really done well, because it sounds like you're very involved with it, but it sounds like everybody else there is kind of have the same attitude and the same drive that you do when it comes to this type of topic.
Yeah. I think, I love this industry. I love the company I work for, including all the people there. You know what I mean? And it brings me a lot of satisfaction to help them, however, and their families. You know what I mean? And just provide those resources and be there for them and give them a place, a good career. And uh, it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
such a fun industry. I love driving by and going, we built that, we built that, we built that. And I know that they do too. You know what I mean? And I'm not out there building anything. I'm just supporting the ones that do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
But
I
you're
love
part
that.
of it.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see and work at a place that does support it, and they help each other out, and they understand the value of it. And we don't even call it our EAP. We call it our mental health benefit. And we promote it all the time. So there's posters, there's stuff we talk about. I tell my kids, my family's so tired of hearing about it because I'm just like, oh, call this, we have this,
Yeah.
But it's just normal, and it should be. And it's,
That's great.
it's just taking care
That's
of
great.
people.
Well, what do you do, Andy, when you're not at work? You deal with a lot of heavy stuff. You are in HR or safety. It's a very stressful job. What does Andy do for his personal care? What do you do for your self time?
I go to counseling regularly because it's a nice place for me to just sit and talk with somebody about the stuff that I'm dealing with, and not anybody that's connected to it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I've always thought that's important. Always thought that's important. Um, but I also just like to just have downtime. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Um,
What do you guys do for downtime as a family or as personally?
well, Brooke and I, we do a little bit of travel. We work a lot, but otherwise we just kind of turn the phones off and we don't run with a big group. We're not like we don't go to big parties or hang out with big groups. It's just like quiet time,
Yeah.
just to go home and have our space and just chill with the dogs. The kids are all older, so they're running around, but they're always fun to get together and but I think it's just having that quiet time, you know what I mean? And I like to go shoot guns and I like, do art and we go like shop for weird things and that's kind of our hobby, is just buying kind of oddities and stuff like that and that's fun. But that's what I do.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one thing that we always try to push is a little bit of that self care, right? You have to take the time.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter, like you just said, it doesn't matter if you sit at home in a quiet house sometimes.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I think people equate self-care with like, oh, I have to go get my hair done or I have to go to
Yeah,
the spa or I have to go on vacation. You don't.
you don't.
I want to be just as comfortable at my house than I do at a cabin in the middle of nowhere. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Because I don't want to put it on that. I can just be good here,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and I did something totally out of the norm for me a couple weeks ago as far as self care. I came home and told Hillary about it, and she's like, "You did what?" And I drive all day. Like my office is my truck.
Yeah.
Uh, any given day, I'm in my truck minimum 6 hours. Most of the time, I'm in my truck about 8 to 10. I
Okay.
mean, because I drive all over the state.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I turned off all the radio, music, podcasts, nothing, and I drove in silence
I love it.
the entire day.
Hmm.
And that came from a friend of mine. He does that a lot. And he says that's been the best thing for him mentally is he just enjoys the scenery and he works through his thoughts as he goes. And I'll tell you what, I came home just and took a breath. I'm like, wow, that was kind of a nice break.
Yeah.
I didn't have all the noise.
Yeah.
I was a nicer driver
Hmm.
to people that day. I was a lot more patient, but it was a change. Honestly, I'd recommend anybody, even if it's a 30-minute drive that maybe you take off it, do it in silence and try that because that is self-care.
That is self-care.
And it's a little bit different and you won't kind of think about it as self-care, but wow, I told myself I'm going to try to do it at least once a month. I don't know if I have the patience to do it more than once a month because my mind's always going, but
Yeah.
that once a month kind of just
Oh yeah.
all the noise is gone.
Yeah.
It was very kind of empowering.
Yeah. I do that a lot and it is nice. Very
Yeah.
quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, don't watch the news,
Right.
those things help out a lot. What else do you do?
Yeah.
What else do you do to take care of yourself? Because you're involved with a lot of heavy things. You're
Yeah,
busy.
man, we're busy with a lot of stuff. We've kind of just tried to make time.
Mm-hmm.
A couple weekends ago, me and Hillary, we had some friends that said, "Hey, we're going to Moab." We're like, "Okay, let's go," and just kind of like, "Let's go." We're just going to go down. We're going to have fun with. We did a couple things with them for one day. We did some stuff on our own the next day,
Nice.
and just took time for us. And it is just some of those little things. Like the other night, we were having that, "Hey, what's for dinner?" conversation, and I'm like, "You know what? Let's just go out.
Yeah.
Let's just go out and get away from everything for a minute."
Sure.
And so we did.
That's
It
nice.
was it was great, and we always do this challenge. At least we try to do it like once a month. I pick a new place you've never been,
Yeah.
and that's fun.
Yeah.
And so we do that. I try to get out with the dogs. I mean, that's kind of my spot is getting out, doing walks, playing with the dogs. I usually do that about an hour every night I get home.
Oh, nice.
And
Good.
that's a nice decompression.
Yeah.
So as you've seen when you came in, they got lots of energy. So it takes about an hour to wear them down too. But other than that, I mean, my biggest thing right now is, like I said, I started getting back into working out a little bit. But it's more not working out to be strong, not working out to be, bigger. It is a whole new avenue of I just want to work out to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter is a yoga instructor and in school to be a massage therapist and is a certified stretch therapist.
Okay.
And she's actually coming over this afternoon and we're going to start this weekly Sunday thing. She's going to come over and spend an hour with us and the boys. We're all going to go out into the gym because we have a full gym in the garage.
Okay.
And we're going to do some stretching and some yoga, easy stuff,
Nice.
just to learn to move.
Okay.
And that's what, to me, anymore, I just want to be healthy to move. Because she was like, "Dad, you don't have to be big. Look at all the Chinese guys and how lean and moved and strong they are." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm too old to be big anymore. I just want to be healthy." And so I'm starting this new physical routine of just working out to be healthy, not working out to be stronger than the next nine, not working out to be, the fastest. I just want to work out to be healthy.
Good. Nice.
And so we
Good
have
plan.
that, and
Okay.
I bought a sauna, so we have a sauna and a cold tub, and
Look
we
at
we
you.
we
You're
do all
doing the whole
that. And
thing.
Hillary was so against the sauna. Like she was so mad when I brought it home. She's like, "You did not." I did. Because I've been talking about it for a couple of years, and I did, and she is literally in it at least 3 times a week now.
Oh, really?
She's starting to feel the benefits
Good.
from sitting in it, and we use it as our meditation time.
Okay.
We've got some meditation music. We turn on, we get in the sauna separately, and it is just our 15 minutes of quiet, and it is absolutely amazing.
I feel like those things that have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, there's
There's
something
something
to
to it.
it. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Why did everybody get in cold rivers? 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Why did they put pregnant women in there
Hmm.
when they were in pain? Well,
Yeah.
there's stuff behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a lot of science to really corroborate that's been out and everything, but it really has made us feel healthier, and so mentally and physically, like it's a twofer for us.
Good
It's
for you.
both.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, well, Andy, thank you. This has been awesome.
It has been
I
awesome.
mean, it's always fun, and I look forward to a lot of stuff that we're kind of be involved in going forward. I think there's going to be really good things happening here in Utah over the next couple of years, but really the next 12 months.
There's so much. There's so much good stuff happening. Yeah, it's really exciting.
I mean, really, again, RFW, everybody, that is coming to a workplace near you soon. We're in the final stages to get everything ready. There is a lot to put together. It is so awesome, though, that it is backed by the RFW Institute nationally.
Okay.
So this isn't just something that Sean Morris and USARA and people decided, hey, we need to do this. This is a national campaign that started back in 2018. We're the 45th state to adopt it.
45th.
45th.
So we're late in the game.
We're late in the game. But
Hmm.
we're going to be late in the game because we're going to just come at it and just hit it running. We've got so many great things that are planned, and I'm so excited to be part of it.
Good.
So that's everybody again. Watch out for that stuff as it's coming. There's going to be a lot of information. We're going to start talking to a lot of workplaces, but it is going to be a great resource. And Sean and me are calling it as a EAP bonus
I like
because
it.
it is really going to take your EAP you have at a company and just be that bonus edition of here is extra resources if your EAP can help. Or guess what? We have some resources that are maybe better than your EAP that you can tap into. And that's what I'm excited about.
That's cool.
It's going to be great.
That's cool. That's exciting. Sean's he's got good energy and got a lot of good ideas.
And it's so funny that the more me and him connect and talk on a weekly basis, is the more people we find out we know.
Oh yeah. Well, he co-chairs uh the workplace group at the Suicide Prevention Coalition
Yeah.
Committee, and Brooke and I co-chair the Mean Safety Work Group.
Okay.
That's where I met him.
Okay.
So we're working, looking like it, like firearms really is the focus, but that and
Right.
safe storage and being responsible. So yeah, that's a plug. If anybody wants to join our work group, just let us know. It's the Utah Suicide Prevention Coalition and Committee. Several work groups. They have the workplace. They have LGBTQ. They have mean safety, religion, and always looking for people to join those work groups. We meet either monthly or bi-monthly, and just more community involvement, the better.
Yeah. One biggest thing is maybe just more information for yourself
Mm-hmm.
that you can pass on back to your company.
Yep, that's right.
So yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Perfect.
Well, before we go, I mean, you kind of already asked me a little bit, but I want to know, Andy, is there any other questions or anything that's been on your mind that maybe you wanted to ask me before we kind of roll out of here that you wanted to know since we've kind of started to get to know each other?
I feel like I know you pretty well.
Yeah, you've listened to all my bad stuff though, Andy.
No, I don't. I don't feel like I have any questions. I want to tell you thanks for jumping in as hard as you've jumped in. I've met a lot of people that talk about wanting to be involved, and I want to do this and I want to help out where I can, but to see someone just really be intentional and deliberate, Scott, like I tip the hard hat to you. Just for the work that you're doing. It's thankless. It's hard work. I watch my wife work in that space every day, and it's draining. That's hard stuff because you never know if you're making a difference.
Yeah.
So for people, like you both, to be there doing that stuff and wanting to do it because you just care about people. It's amazing. So I look forward to getting to know you more and learning from you. And I take inspiration from a lot of people, and you're one of those people. And it's cool stuff.
Well, I appreciate that. That really does mean a lot.
Yeah.
Again, like you say, it's kind of one of those thankless things a
Mhm.
lot, but thank you.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, well, everybody, thank you to you for tuning in today, taking this time this week to listen to us, to enjoy Andy's story, to hear about what he's doing in his industry here in construction and how he's helping all the amazing people that are involved in it, and also his work in the suicide prevention world that him and Brooke are doing. So, Andy, I just want to say thank you to you for everything you guys are doing because I know you guys work a lot of long hours as well. So,
Thanks. Thanks.
but everybody, again, I'm going to challenge you, just like I do every week, that we could not do this without you, but we also want to help more. So take this episode and share it with somebody that you love. Share it with somebody that you know. Share it with a coworker. Anybody you feel that could hear this message and could benefit for it. Take it and share it and make sure that you guys all know that you are a big deal, and we will see you next time. Thank you.